Hello and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will discuss in this video is alleged and in my very own personal opinion, used for entertainment purposes only. Okay. So today I will be doing a recap of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 2, Hot Dogs and Hot Mics. And can I get a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, Mama Bees? Thank you so much. So let me go ahead and get started, guys, because today is Monday and y'all know how crazy Mondays are for me. So this will not be a quick I'm sorry, this will not be a long live. Okay. So let me just say this off the top. I love the fact that with the Real Housewives of Atlanta, not only do we get to see Black excellence, we get to see these people's real lives. Okay. Like, I'm going to get into it more, but Shamia went to go see her surrogate. I mean, they're talking about real relationship issues, and it seems like these ladies aren't holding a lot back like some of the other reality TV shows that we have been known to watch, where, you know, um, the cast members don't really want to show their lives. So just in the second episode, I'm seeing a lot of real life stuff going on that people can actually relate to it. So I'm really feeling, this season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So let's just go ahead and get into some details. Okay. So right out the gate, in this episode, Portia was in a confessional and she was talking about the fact that, you know, um, Drew trying to film with Dennis behind her back is really complicating her life. Now, to some degree, I can understand where that would cause Portia anxiety because, like, she's already getting a divorce. So obviously, she can't film with her husband. So I think that she was really banking on filming with Dennis since they do have a really good co-parenting relationship. So I can see where that really threw a wrench into her plans for the future. I totally get it. Okay. Um Now when it comes to Drew doing the go naked photo shoot, I don't really get that. I mean, she is an ambassador for your company. So whatever she does or can do to make your hair look good, like, I don't see the issue. I think you were really reaching right there, Portia. I think the real reason you're not feeling Drew is because you think that she is dating your baby dad. And I get it. Your friends are not supposed to date your exes or your baby daddies. Let's just keep it real. So I get that. And then on top of that, it's just like Dennis is trying to double dip. You already know that obviously you're going to you're going to film some scenes with Portia. So you're also trying to go behind her back and film some scenes with Drew. I believe that's one of the main reasons. It doesn't have to be the entire reason. Hey, Sharon Gottball, thank you so much for being here. But I do think that Dennis, when he approached Drew about doing this venture together in the music, I believe he had that in the back of his mind because, like, I've seen a lot of other people say, Dennis does act like he won't a peach. Okay. Like, he is such a clout chaser. It's just not even funny. Like, he really be doing too much. Okay. Now, do I believe that Drew and Dennis slept together? Now, in my opinion, okay, for me, the answer would be yes, just based on the message that Dennis put on Instagram about the fact that he would hold, her release you know, because her sister made a statement about Portia. First of all, what does what my sister say have to do with me? And then secondly, you know, I just feel like that is so unprofessional. And honestly, I would not want to move forward and do business with somebody that is just so unprofessional. So that message told me that they have crossed the line. That's my opinion. Because if they hadn't, he could have handled that situation behind the scene. Like, we know he's a clout chaser, but when it comes to professional relationships, like, this is really not a good look. And I would not want to do business with him moving forward. That's just my opinion. Okay. Now, Dennis is forever low key trying to get back at Portia. And yes, I do believe that Dennis is still in love with Portia. And honestly, I believe that they are still creeping together as well. Okay. And that's just my opinion, which is another reason why Portia is so mad. And mom and let's see here. And Sharon says, I feel that they slept together also. Okay. And I think she's referring to Drew and Dennis. And Mama B said, Dennis is a Mitch. He really is. Like, I mean, only, on the second episode, and he's already starting to annoy me. Oh my God. Like, I hate those type of guys. Like, Dennis, move on. Like, stop trying to make it your life mission to make Portia jealous. Like, it's very annoying. Okay. Like, find you a nice young lady and settle down. Be a good dad to your child and, co-parent with Portia. When it comes to Drew, unfortunately, Drew has developed a reputation of being a liar. So at this point, everything that comes out of her mouth is going to be questionable. And not that everything she says is a lie, it's just the fact that you've made yourself out to be a liar. So everybody's going to question everything you say at this point. Now, how I feel about the ladies jumping into the pool in their evening attires. Like, how did you guys feel about that? Like, it was mainly the peach holders and, their mates or whatever the case may be. But, they had on their evening attire. Like, they couldn't have changed into their swimsuits. I mean, they did all of that just for a 2-minute clip on the show. Like, who's coming up with this stuff? So, I mean, because at that point, the party's over because now you're all wet. Now, they could have had a change of clothes, you know what I'm saying? And maybe changed after. And maybe that's just something that they do all the time. But, honey, I am not jumping into no pool for nobody in my evening attire. I'm just not going to do that. And I hope Angela Oakley didn't, get in because we seen in episode 1 where her wig was already slipping off. Okay, so that wouldn't have been a good look for her. And Mama B says that was crazy. I wouldn't have jumped in the pool. Just like, gosh, I mean, I know y'all want this show to be over the top, but that's a little bit much for me. I'm sorry. And it was literally a 2-minute clip. And I would have loved to see like more on the party, like how that played out. Like, did they get their groove on, like, dancing and stuff. Cause me and my family, we like to dance. And that's what we do at parties. But jumping in a pool with clothes on, that's just not a part of the fun. So yeah, I would have liked to see the girls having fun, dancing, maybe doing some karaoke. But the way that it looks like that party ended, no, it would have been a no for me. So then, Um, Portia met up with Kenya, and we were able to find out a little bit more about why Portia divorced Simon. But for me, her knowing that Simon had been married 5 times, I mean, talk about big flashing red flags. So, we did find out, and Mama B said, I wanted to see some good food. Yes, everybody kept saying, like, where is the food? I'm hungry. Like, to have a party at such a nice, lavish house, and that's all it brought. Like, I was a little disappointed, Mama B's. I'm with you on that one because you can't host parties in an amazing house like that and the food not be over the top. I remember seeing maybe an ice sculpture with Shamia's name on it, but you're right. I don't remember seeing any good food. Okay. So yes, she talked about the fact that she found out, I think they were somewhere and some police approached Simon or whatever and kind of gave him a hard time. So I think that's when she realized that he was having issues with his green card, so that came into question. And then she talked about after she actually filed for the divorce and she was viewing the home footage, she seen that Simon was already inviting ladies over to the house. Like, how disrespectful is that to be inviting women over to the marital home, like just that quick? See, we seen on social media where he was accusing Portia of all of these things, but we didn't know why. We didn't know his side of the story because they always say there's three sides to the story: his side, her side, and the truth lies somewhere in the middle. So now we actually get to hear, not that everything she's saying is true, but now we get to hear Portia's side of the story because obviously she didn't want to talk at the time because she was saving her information so that it could play out on the show, which makes sense. Simon, on the other hand, he had nothing to lose because he had no plans of being on the show after she filed for divorce. So I kind of get that. So Angela and Charles Oakley, they have 4 kids together. Well, I'm sorry, they have 4 kids. She has 2 kids from a previous relationship, and then he has a son from a previous relationship, and then they share a 7-year-old daughter. Okay. And I'm really liking Charles Oakley. He low key reminds me of Greg Leaks in a way, but he's just a lot more outspoken than Greg Leaks. But I absolutely love his personality, and I like the fact that you know he's just not with the BS. You know what I'm saying? He pretty much comes off that way, and that's kind of like his personality. Um, and he actually met Angela 10 years prior to them actually dating. They exchanged numbers. I think they met in like Chicago somewhere and they exchanged numbers, but they never really spoke again. And then they ended up being neighbors um, at their condominium, and then obviously that's where they rekindled or they met and they decided to actually start dating. Okay. And so Angela obviously feels like their relationship was destined to happen. So it also came out in this episode that Angela Oakley owns a financial consulting company and she is a self-made millionaire. So again, this is the black excellence that we wanted to see. Um, and also, um, I'm glad that Bravo took the time to go away for a while and just, find some real wealth and not just people pretending to be wealthy. Okay. So shout out to Bravo for that. I think they did a really good job of choosing this cast because it's hard when people have to play wealthy. And I think what they went through with Portia her going through a divorce, Simon threatening to sue them for her filming in the house. I think that that kind of made them want to really look for women that were successful without their husbands. Okay. Not saying that that was the determining factor, but when you got to fake it or whatever the case may be, like two of the OGs, no shade, but Kenya also purchased a space which is she's using as a content creation space, so that's really not her business. Like, she doesn't have any business going on. We've been able to watch behind the scenes where the business is never open. There's always a lock on the door. If you try to go on a website and book an appointment, it doesn't happen. So again, it looks like a fake storyline. And obviously, that's probably another reason why Portia is so upset about Drew filming with Dennis, is because she's not going to have that house to film in much longer. So where is she going to film? You know what I'm saying? So it looks like when Bravo chose the women that they were going to add to this show, they really did try to find women who had real wealth and not people that are out here trying to fake wealth. Okay. So I can totally see why. I mean, I can't see why Kenya did what she did, but I can see where there was a lot of pressure on Kenya to, be able to maintain her spot on the show, because these new girls, they seem to be real boss chicks. Okay. Now, this is just my initial opinion, because keep in mind, we're only on episode 2. So my opinion is obviously going to change somewhat after I get to know these girls a little bit better. But this is just my first initial, breakdown of the new ladies. Okay. Now, Angela Oakley also bought 5 properties that she is in the process of renovating. Okay. So, again, the great thing about her and her husband's relationship is that she came into the relationship with money. Okay. And even when it comes to Shamia, Shamia already had money before she married her husband. So it's looking, and don't get me wrong, Portia does quite well for herself. She has several businesses going on. Portia wrote a book. She has her sheet line. She has her Go Naked Hair. She has this show. So, Portia out here getting the bag too. Don't get me wrong, okay? So the only person that's a little bit in question right now would be Kenya. And now that she's off the show, maybe she just didn't fit in. You know what I'm saying? And everything happens for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it wasn't meant for her to be on this show. Okay. But yes, Angela husband, Charles, he really does seem like a no nonsense type of a guy. And, again, he does remind me a lot of Greg Leaks. But as long as he knows that Angela is the prize, you know, but her husband does look good on her, okay? Because that's the thing that I want every woman to know, is that they're the prize. So if you are lucky enough to meet a man that matches your fly, matches your financial capabilities, then that's a win-win for you. So Kenya and Portia, they both pull up in their Rolls Royces, or should I say, Portia pulled up in Simon's Rolls Royce. Like, Simon really did a number on Portia. Like, Portia just knew that she was going to be the it girl on this show, but things quickly changed when she started to really realize And it's not like there hadn't been rumblings in the street about Simon. Like it, I mean, Portia already knew what she was getting into, but I guess she decided to just give Simon the benefit of the doubt. So, a lot changed when she filed for that divorce. So they had a nice conversation over, I guess it looked like it was dinner. Um, and Portia revealed, again, the reasons for her divorce. And she found out some things that she didn't know about his past, his citizenship. And right after that is when she filed for divorce. Now, when it comes to Kelly, it sounds like Kelly had her restaurant. I was kind of unclear about this, and maybe you ladies can help me out. Um, her scene showed her with, I think, her publicist, but they were looking at a potential place for her to open up a restaurant. So I'm not sure if the restaurant that she did have that got shut down. So now she's in the process of building out a new restaurant. From the first episode, it seems like, or I got the impression that her waffles, Nanas and waffles, or whatever, was already up and running. They talked about how good her waffles are, but this episode kind of left me clueless because I didn't know if she was just trying to branch off and open up multiple locations or if she still had the old locations. And maybe you guys can help me out with that. And keep in mind, this was probably filmed a long time ago. So at this point, maybe her restaurant is already open. Now, to some degree, I'm going to reserve my opinion on Britt Edie and her husband, just on her husband, her and her husband, um, who she is in the process of trying to have a baby and also move into a new house with. Because I really didn't like their scene. It didn't really give me newlywed vibes. Um, it kind of gave me that there's already trouble in paradise. I could be wrong, so that's why I'm going to just kind of reserve my opinion on their relationship because, it's coming off a little toxic already. Okay, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in my recap. So, Britt Edie owns her own insurance agency. Shout out to her. That's, how she met her husband. She was his insurance agent and they ended up dating at some point. So, Shamia went to go and visit Shadina, her surrogate mom, and she brought her some flowers. And we all know that, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, which is why Shamia's daughter was born early. Okay. And she's also Candy Burris's surrogate as well for her last daughter. And Mama B says, I think she had multiple locations and the husband took one of them. Yes, I'm going to speak about that a little bit later in the recap about how he took almost $500,000 out of the business bank account. So you're saying that was the reason why she had to build out a new relationship. Hey, Paula, thank you so much for being here. And Sharon said, I got no newlywed vibes from them either. Okay, so good. It wasn't just me because that's why I said I'm just going to, reserve my opinion because I didn't feel a good energy from their relationship. So during the visit that Shamia had with her surrogate, she developed the breast cancer. So she assured her no. A lot of people was thinking that. She said no, it had nothing to do with that. And she actually said that being that she was pregnant, she probably realized that she had the breast cancer sooner because if she had not been pregnant, she would not have been checking her breast as often. So by her being a surrogate at the time, she was able to realized that she had this situation gone kind of early on. So Shamia was happy to hear that because that was like a burden that she had been carrying. And the surrogate revealed to Shamia, that she felt like a failure because she couldn't complete the surrogacy and Shamia had to have her baby early. Hence, and never actually came out and said that her daughter developed all of those diagnoses because of being born prematurely. Honestly, it could have been a little bit of the fact that she was born prematurely, and then it could have been some other things. Because keep in mind, she's basically just housing the baby for the mom and dad. Okay. So those are actually their genes. So maybe it was a little bit of both. Definitely nobody was at fault. And I just feel like everything happens for a reason. And, so nobody really has any burden to carry because just like Shamia said, she wanted her baby to be healthy, but she also wanted her surrogate mom to be healthy as well. Hey, Toot Latrice, thank you so much for being here, sis. And Mama B says, please hit that like button, 4 likes and 10 in the chat, please, and thank you. Okay. So, um, where was I? So, Shamia also shared with her that she wanted to have another baby. And she also shared that she had a miscarriage. We're not going to go too much into that because that's really sad. After having a sick baby, then having a miscarriage, that's a lot. So her surrogate told her that she had somebody in mind and she thought that she would be a good fit for her. So I guess Shamia and her husband are going to go ahead and move on with having another baby. For me, that's really soon, especially after having a baby with a lot of health issues. But hey, I guess she knows what she's doing. You know, I think that's a lot, but that's just my opinion because everybody is not cut out to raise a baby with a lot of health issues. But Shamia does make it look, very easy. Okay. And some people just, they just have it in them. And that's just not everybody. So, Britt Edie went to go see Kelly at her house. Um, and apparently they're good friends and they met through some mutual friends and they've been friends for about a year. So they talked about Britt planning a wedding since she got married during COVID or whatever the case may be. So they basically just had like some type of Zoom wedding, so they never actually had the opportunity to have a real wedding. And she said that kind of bothered her. So she's in the process of actually planning a wedding. So they also talked about Shamia's birthday party and some of the drama that went down at the party. And she then mentioned to Kelly that she didn't really want to pry about the reason why she got a divorce. So she was just kind of waiting on her to share that with her. So Kelly did share that, her husband was cheating on her. And then um, he took almost $500,000 out of their business or their company's bank account. Like, that guy is still lucky to be living. And she did say that she did a really good job of pretending that their marriage was okay. So a lot of women do that. They don't really want, everybody to know that they're having problems in their relationship until they just can't hide it anymore. So apparently that's what happened with Kelly. And Mama B says she wants more babies and she got the money. Yes, she does have the money, and her husband both want more babies. Um, but um, just me, I probably would have made the decision to just take a break, make sure Shiloh is good and up and, not so young. But the thing with having kids, a lot of times, if you're going to do it, you want to get it out the way. Like, you don't want to wait. 5, 6, 7, 8 years before you have another child. So I understand that as well. Um, so I totally get it. So Drew and Angela meet up at a gym, and apparently they've been good friends for 3 years. So of course they talked about the drama at the party as well. Um, and I think it was Brett that brought up um the fact that about Drew about I'm sorry, about Shamia bringing up the fact that she heard that Drew was dating Dennis. Okay. So they talked about that, and they were basically calling Shamia Portia's lapdog, and I guess they had wanted to have this conversation before Shamia got there because eventually Shamia did join them. So they all had the opportunity to talk about the situation. And, they wanted to know, like, did you want to know that, or were you just asking for Portia? And Shamia kind of felt like, you know, um, I'm sorry, I'm getting these ladies confused. Drew and Angela are the ones that's really good friends and have been friends for 3 years. I think I might have said the wrong name. And Shamia was saying that Angela was quiet as a church mouse at the party when all of this is taking place. But now that it's just me, you, and Drew, now you're coming down my throat. Maybe Angela didn't want to go back and forth with Portia because we all know Portia will pop off in a minute, and Portia be ready to fight. So maybe Angela just didn't want that smoke. And then, Angela is a little bit older. Her husband's older. He was there. So I think Angela was trying to be on her best behavior because she didn't want to embarrass her husband and things like that. Um, so even though Shamia talked very, highly of these ladies, it's starting to look like they might have a little friction with Shamia. So this episode kind of wrapped up with Portia and Dennis meeting at some type of fun spot with Pilar. And apparently the subject came up about what happened at the party, and Drew saying that he was her guardian in disguise or whatever he was. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm not using her words verbatim, and neither did Portia when she was talking to Dennis about it. But anyway, Portia ended up getting very annoyed, and she started crying because obviously this is a very sensitive spot for her. And she obviously feels some kind of way about Dennis having this relationship with Drew, and also potentially filming with Drew. So that's pretty much how this episode ended. So we'll get to find out more about their meetup on the next episode and see how all of that played out. But yeah, I think Portia is a little overwhelmed right now with the divorce going on, potentially not being able to film in the house. It's just a lot on her right now. So I think anything is going to make Portia cry at this point, if I'm being honest. She's just very sensitive right now. So I don't like seeing her like that. So hopefully she'll be in a better place really soon. So guys, again, that's going to be all for this video. If you have not done so already, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and bye for now.